What's up, guys? So, most recently, I did a top 10 worst winners in Survivor history. My opinion. Don't get crazy. Just my opinion. Now, I'm going to do the top 10 best winners in Survivor history. And I'm sure a few will be shocked with my final three, one in particular. So, I'm going to go ahead and start with number 10, and that's Richard Hatch. Oh, what? What? How come he's not number one? It's simply because his win, yes, he came up with alliances, but his win was with I am going to judge this on straight up, not the cast. Like, I have a few in there that played with cast members that were easy to beat, but in Richard's case, it was ridiculous how easy it was because they were literally choosing who they wanted to vote for by alphabetical order. And hey, pick a number, and if you get the number right, you win the game. Richard Hatch won the game by picking the right number at the end of the day. So if he would have picked the wrong number, Richard wouldn't have been the winner of the first season of Survivor. The reason I'm giving him respect and putting him in the top 10 is because he was the first winner. He is the first OG. Richard Hatch is a legend of the game and deserves at least to be in the top 10 of winners of all times. All right, number 9. Number 9, I have Earl. Earl Cole was the first winner to actually get a unanimous vote. The second was JT. But Earl, he was extremely likable. He went along making strategic moves in Fiji, and ultimately it gave him the win. Not only the win, after 16 seasons, Earl was the first person to get a unanimous vote. Now, 16 seasons. That's a long time for someone not to completely dominate the game and get everyone's vote. And Earl did something right because obviously he got a unanimous vote, so that puts him at number 9. You have to respect the fact that that happened. So that's why I put Earl at number 9. Number 8, a lot of people are probably going to have number 8 a little higher than me, and that's Tom Westman. Tom was super likable. You got to realize this back in the day when being honorable was the thing to do in the world of Survivor. Being honorable is the reason you deserve the win. And that's exactly what Tom did. Back then, that was how they played. And Tom was an honorable winner. He did the right thing. I don't agree with that nowadays. I mean, you be an honorable winner these days, it's like it doesn't happen, right? You got to stab somebody in the back, especially the way they play Survivor now. And not only was he a super likable character in the game of Survivor, he was also a dominant force when it comes to challenges. He still, today, tied, I don't know exactly who he's tied with, maybe Ozzy, but I know that it's a tie, 5 challenges. Nobody's ever won 6 challenges, individual immunity challenges, and Tom has the tied for the record with 5. So not only was he likable, he was dominant in challenges, and he went all the way to the end being honorable. I like to see that happen these days. I don't think it will. Again, number 7 was almost the same style. Honorable player, Yul. Super strategic. We're seeing Yul now play the game, and we're seeing how strategic he is. So Yul definitely deserves to be in everyone's top 10. I don't think too many people are gonna hate on that. But what's really interesting is my number 10, number 9, number 8. Three of my top 10 winners aren't playing in an all-winners season. So that's really interesting to see something like that. Those 3, Tom, Earl, and Richard, you can arguably always put them in the top 10 of all winners, and they're not out there right now playing in a winner's season, which is, super questionable for a lot of us. We wonder why. So I have Yule number 7. He's obviously out there. Number 6, we all know him and love him, Jeremy. He's playing this season. I'm enjoying watching him play this season. Jeremy is super likable, and he's really good at challenges, and he strategically plays it too. So he almost has all of it together. You could put him as an all-around great player when it comes to the whole thing, the whole shebang of Survivor. Jeremy has it all. We're seeing him now fight to stay in the game, fight to stay in control. It's a different game. It's a different day for Jeremy. So, but it's funny to watch him play, because when his strategic plan doesn't work, he scratches it. He's like, okay, whatever. I scratch all that, whatever you want, as long as it's not me. So I'm seeing Jeremy, his style change a little bit. But Jeremy, yes, he's a great player. He's a great winner. I have him at number 6 of greatest winners in the history of the game. All right, number 5. This guy, number 5, got worse as it went along, and his name is JT. JT, don't forget how popular JT was. Don't forget how great of win that was. Not only did he have a great win, he beat someone that everybody probably agrees that he should have beat, but Fishback had a great season too, and you could have easily gave the win to Fishback, and people would have been like, yeah, I get it. But he beat him. And he also not only beat him, he's the second person to get a unanimous vote, and that was season 18. So within 3 seasons, they had 2 people that win unanimously, and JT is one of them. So you have to agree that JT is, as an all-around player, not only did he win his season 18, he beat a great player unanimously. So JT was likable, he was strategic, he was good in challenges. As time went along, JT got worse and worse and worse. And again, this is for JT, Tom, Earl, and Richard, survivors, great winners that we don't see on Winners at War. And that's it. There's 4 out of 10 that we don't see. So that's crazy, but that's what it is. All right, number 4. I have to go with Sarah. Now, even though Sarah is same face and boring to watch, or she does some good thing. When she won this season, she did a great job winning. She controlled the season. She stabbed people in the back when she had to stab them in the back. She made the right moves at the right time. She made my top 4. She's number 4, greatest winner of all time. I think that she now it's like she's taking a step back strategically and trying to just go with the flow. I see a lot of that going on right now in season 40 with Winners at War. But she had a great win. I have her in my top 5. Sarah makes a number 4. Now, my top 3. This is where a lot of you are going to freak out a little bit because my number 3 pick is Boston Rob. Regardless, now I do have Richard Hatch, number 10, and I did say that he had a weak cast and they didn't know how to play. But it was totally different back then when Rob played. Rob played and he completely dominated the game. He made these people look like idiots. He said, sit down and be quiet, and they sat down and they shut up. And he did that. He made that happen. So you have to respect the fact that Rob completely dominated his season. I gave him respect after the win. I happened to play on that season. That was the season that they threw the challenge to get rid of me. So what was that? Season 22, Redemption Island. I shook his hand after the fact. I respect the win. People think we don't get along, which I just have a problem with his aggressive gameplay. He won that season because of his aggressive gameplay, but you have to give him respect because it worked. It was so aggressive that they just didn't know what to do. You Rob haters out there, and you think I'm a Rob hater, but I give him, he makes my top 3. Rob wins again. So now we have the top 2 most impressive winners in the game. My number 2 pick used to be my number 1. I thought about it for a little while, and it's Kim. I know, trust me, I know. You're sitting there saying, well, Kim, she just had an easy cast. Yes, so did Rob, so did Richard, but they won the game in a superb fashion. Kim not only won physically, she won like 4 challenges in a row to get to the end. Don't forget that. She got everybody to like her, like she was the mother hen of that entire season. Yes, she controlled everything. At that point, Trorzan tried to ruffle a few feathers, but it didn't work. And Kim ultimately became one of the greatest winners in Survivor history by winning her season, regardless, guys, of who she played with. Kim had a great win. You have to respect that, and I do, and I put Kim as my number 2. Number 1, it is Tony. Some say that his gameplay was similar to my gameplay. Now, I see that. Tony found items without clues. He was super aggressive. He was stocky, bald-headed, just like this guy named Russell Hantz. He played the blueprint of my game, but he had a great cast around him that actually voted for who they were supposed to vote for. He lied about his dad. He lied. He cheated. He stole his way through the game. He was super aggressive, and he still won. He did exactly the same things I did, and he still won. Spencer stood up and gave his speech why Tony should win the game. Wu took him to the end, and Wu would have won, but Wu made a bad decision, took Tony to the end. He wins and dominated. He dominated that season, and I have to give Tony the win. He's playing a great game as we speak. In Winners of War, what happens, happens. If Tony happens to win again, you have to consider Tony the greatest to ever play the game. And I will sit here publicly and say that Tony is the greatest to ever play the game if he happens to win again. And he's going down a pretty good road. He played 3 times. The second time he played, he was a little crazy, ran out in the woods. He even says that. This is the 3rd time he's played the game, and he's playing dominant. And I think that not as dominant as his first win, but I would put Tony's win, if he wins this season, I would put that win in my top 10, just like that. So Tony, maybe even my top 5. Tony would, if he would win this season, Tony would be number 1 and in my top 5 of all players. If Kim wins this season, I would put her at number 2 like I have now, and maybe one of the worst winners in my, she would get into the category of one of the worst winners in history, in my opinion, because I don't like her style of play right now. I don't like the way she's playing. It's super disappointing because I thought she would do much better. So that's it, guys. Tony is the king of winners at this point, and he makes my number 1. I appreciate you guys for watching. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Hit that notification button so you know that these videos drop when they drop, and like it. Please give me your list below of your top 10 winners of all times. And again, I appreciate you watching, and keep hope alive.